नमस्ते विद्याओं खुश रहिए आई JVWU Muskan Kumari from the Department of Science and Technology and I am working here as an assistant professor in the JVWU Women's University and the Faculty of Education and Mythology. So today's our session is which I have told you in the previous session that we will discuss that is the introduction of the socket programs and before that what is the socket which I have to discussed with you, isn't it? So now, to make you better understand these things, we are just sharing some files with you, so you can easily understand it. Okay. So here, yeah, this one is the files that what is the socket which I have to basic discuss with you. That one. So, what is the socket? Socket allows you the communication between the two different processes on the same or different machines. Isn't it? Socket allow you between two different processes on the same or different machines. There are two processes between you. You have to establish the communications, and that process must be on the same or the different machines. Isn't it clear? So, to be more precise, it is a way to talk to other computers using the standard Unix file, also descriptors. In Unix, input-output action is done by writing and reading file descriptor also. And if a file descriptor is just an integer associated with an open file, then it can be network connections and the text file, a terminals and something else. Clear? So, to be a programmer, a socket looks and behaves much like a low level file descriptor, and this is because of the commands such as like read commands and the write commands. And this you will also tell like that this is the operations, two operations basically read and write operations which perform in these sockets work with the sockets in the same if they do not have the files and pipes. Clear? So socket first introduced in is to one BSD and subsequently refined into their current form now 4.2 BSD. Sockets features is now available with the most current Unix system releases. And now, where is socket used? A person will also ask you that where you will use this socket start. A Unix socket is used in the socket must be used in the client server applications framework, and a server is a process that performs some functions on the request from the client. And most of the application level protocols like FTP, SMTP, and POP3 make use the socket to establish connections between the client and server, and then for exchanging the data also. So there are various types of the sockets. So I am just going to discuss the types of the sockets also. A Unisex a Unix uh, socket is used in a client server applications framework, and Unix socket is basically is used in the client server application framework, and server is a process that performs some functions like requesting and receiving the responses from the clients and servers. And most of the application level protocols like the FTP protocols, SMTP protocols, which is used for the mail, and POP3 protocols make use of socket to establish the connections between the client and server, and then they start to exchanging the data between them. Clear? So the socket types are four types of the sockets which is available now available for the users. The first two are the most commonly used stream socket and the data gram sockets, which I have already discussed with you. That is stream sockets considered under the TCP, and data gram sockets is under the UDP. And the two more, one is raw sockets and the sequenced packet sockets. Clearly, now again I will discuss this one by one with you. A stream, what is a stream socket? Delivery in a network environment is guaranteed if you send through the stream socket and three items, suppose there are three items A, B, C, they will arrive in the same orders, isn't it? TCP means what? Connection oriented protocols, in which it means that in which orders you are giving the data packets or the datagrams, the receivers will receive that data packets or datagrams in the same orders. Doesn't they will affect it, that things clear? So they will receive that in the same data packets. So in that same order. So here we are saying that suppose there are three socket have three items ABC, and they will arrive in the same orders ABC. These socket use the TCP. These sockets basically use the which type of protocols? TCP protocols, transmission control protocol for data transmission. And if delivery is impossible, the data center receives an error indicator, or the data records don't have any boundaries. So now, if we talk about the datagram sockets, delivery in a network environment is not guaranteed. They are connectionless because you don't need to have an open connections as in the stream socket. Clear? So you will have the packets for the destinations informations and send it to out, and they use the UDP protocols. Now, what is the raw protocols? If you talk about the raw protocols, so this provides user access to underline the communications protocol, which supports socket abstractions. These sockets are normally datagram oriented, though the exact characteristics are dependent on the interface provided by the protocol. Raw sockets are not intended for the general users. They have been provided mainly for those interested in developing new communication protocols. Okay, for gaining the access to some of the cryptic facilities of an existing protocol. Okay, so now if we talk about the sequenced packet socket, they, they are the similar to stream sockets with the exceptions that record boundaries are preserved. The interface uh, provided by only as a part of the network system and as network system socket abstractions, and it is very important in the most of the network system applications. And if you talk about the sequence packet protocols, then this SP sequence packets and sockets also allow users to manipulate the sequence packet protocols for that datagram headers on the packets or group of packets, either by writing the prototypes header along with the whatever data is sent to by is sent, or by specifying the default header to be used with all the outgoing data clearly. So this is the sequence packet sockets is also used. Now, what is the next? What is the next? So the next few chapters are meant to be strengthen your basic and prepare the foundations before you can write several client programs using the sockets. And you will directly want to jump to see how to write the client and server programs, because this is your networking programming subjects course name is. So you have must to do the programming of the client and server, isn't it? So to write the client and server program, then you can do so, but it is not recommended. It is strongly recommended that you go step by step and complete these initial few chapters to make your base before moving on to do the programs. Clear? So, but again, in this session is all about this. Now, if we want to recall this all the things, then I'm just recalling the things again, that sockets is just like what creating the interfaces between the applications and the process and transport layer. Okay, so application process can send and receive messages from to and from another application process, or that may be on the local or the remote via socket by using the interface. That interface name is the socket. Clear? So in Unix jargon, a socket is a file descriptor and integer associated with an open file. Clear? So types of the socket, there is an internet socket, Unix socket, and X.25 socket. Internet socket characterized by IP addresses, and that is of 4 bytes, and port number 2 byte. Clear? So descriptions, if we descriptions about the sockets, then there may be one client and one server, and there are, you know that there are 7 layers. Clear? But here you can use the 6 layers, like the physical link layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, socket layer, and the process layer. Clear? So physical layer of client and server is associated with each other, and that is the kernel spaces. Kernel spaces is what? From the physical layer, link layer, network layer, transport layer is just like the kernel spaces, and socket layer and process layer is the user space layer. Okay, so all the kernel space is connected of client to the server. Clear? So types of the internet sockets: the string socket, you can use like the SOCK sock underscore s, and then this is used as the string socket. And this string socket is basically rely on the TCP to provide the reliable two-way communications or connected communications. Clearly, datagram sockets is what? SOCK underscore DZRAM. Then this is known as the datagram sockets, and it is used in the for the methods as in the programming languages. Clear? So this is basically rely on the UDP, and connections is unreliable here. And if you talk about the types of the byte ordering, and there is one more basic points which you must keep in your mind. That is the byte ordering. What is the byte ordering? So network byte ordering, the high order byte of the number is stored in the memory at the lowest address, and host byte order is what? Host byte ordering is what? Low order byte of the number is stored in the memory at the lowest addresses. Clear? So network byte order, high order byte of the number is stored in the memory at the lowest, but host byte order, low order byte of the number is stored in the memory at the lowest address. Clear? So network stack, TCP IP expects the network byte order. Clear? Conversion is what? If you want to convert the host to the network soft, then you can use the method STONS method. Okay, and host to network long, then you can use the STON. Okay, STON uh, L long. And for short network to host soft, then you can use the NTOHS, NTOHS, and network to host long, NTOHL. Clear? This is all the methods you can use that. Now, I will also discuss this in the next session, but I am just giving you the overview of what regarding these all the things. Okay, connection oriented protocols, they you very well know that client that is a server, and client have the sockets and they are connections, and also have the receive and send and close. Clear? When the send client close, it means they are sending to the end of file, then server disconnects their connectivity between both. Okay, so socket and server will use the socket method, manipulation, and accept. Clear? It also sends, receives, and close. Close in the disconnection of the connectivity. And connectionless protocols for UDP is what? Client and server. Suppose socket bind, send, receive, and close. But in the server side, socket bind, same things. Receive, send, and close. But what is the socket method? Get the file descriptor. This is used for the get the file descriptor. Okay, so domain should be set to AFINET. So what is the meaning of these ones? Int socket, int domain, int type, int protocols, and types can be the socket stream and socket datagram, and set protocols to 0 to have the socket choose for the correct protocols based on the types, and socket method returns the socket descriptor for use in the layer system calls for -1 on the error. Clear? So there are various types of these other things. You should read by your own. If you have any problems in this session, now that what is the socket, what do you mean by socket, then please do the comments in the comment section bar, and I will resolve that problems in the next session. Okay. So, and in next session we will discuss the more topics, valuable topics, and reliable topics with you. And please read these topics very carefully, because these all are the basic points uh, before starting your programming in network. So please read it carefully from the different books, like the Douglas books of the networking is the standard book, and also reads the various online sites like the Gigs for Gigs, tutorial points, and Gateway Vidyalaya sites also. Okay, thank you.